Okay, we are live.
People at the party, and I'm wanting to dance.
Okay.
Ugly ass bitches.
I know this is at a weird time, but
Dudes looking at me
I had to work for a little while longer than I probably should have.
who's getting mad.
Eh.
Come on, bitch, see me with them hands.
Anyway. Hi everyone, this is Guy Smith, and, I just wanted to, because I don't really, oh goodness. Don't ask why that was like that. I don't know. I think it was actually a little bit late in the night when I did that. Why that was like that either.
First man
It's
up,
probably for something else.
his hands on my hips.
Anyway,
I drop it like it's hot. He's licking his lips.
I wanted to do a base tour of my personal base because at one point I had promised to do that. I don't think I had actually promised. I said I would do it, but anyway. There have been changes since I last showed this on camera anyway, so why don't I get around to actually, you know, showing it off? Speaking of, yeah, I have some throughput issues and everything right now. Stuff isn't perfect, I will admit it. Stuff isn't perfect. Actually, speaking of, I need to finish getting rid of all of this stuff.
See me with them hands. You don't know it.
Yeah.
Fellas really need to know before calling me boo, because what you see isn't always the truth. Because
Ugh.
boy, I got all the same parts that you do.
Whatever. I'll let my bots do whatever. Anyway, I think I have construction bots in the network, right? Yeah, I have construction bots. So they should actually be managing all of that. Should. Although I think they might also be placing solar panels now. Anyway, micromanagement. So here I well, let me actually show it off on the map. Yeah, there's some stuff that still needs to finish being built. That's all the labs that's gonna bother me. Maybe I should cancel that deconstruction and everything. Let's just leave it at that. But it's still gonna flash because it doesn't have any power. Oh, you so whiny. You're just that kind of whiny bitch, aren't you? Anyway, let me show you everything on the map again. This mess of solar panels and accumulators, more solar panels, various ore patches sort of stuck between solar panels and stuff. Just, it's a mess. It's a mess. And I stopped using steam power a while back, so when I did, I just tried to make sure that I had as much solar power as I possibly could. So, I've had a lot of blackouts. Let's leave it at that. However, my original starting area for the base was down over here. I believe I actually had made some of these smelters, the first ones, because this is iron ore and this is copper ore. Those are the resources that I was originally using. Now, the nearest stone was all the way down here, or it was right there, actually. There was stone there, but it was a little bit more of a hassle because I was starting to build the bus up here. So it was like, do I go further over from the side, which would limit the amount of smelters that I could put down this way. I later stopped doing that because I tried to fit them in wherever I could. But I thought, you know what, I'll put the stone down there, especially because I already have iron there, so I can route the power through there. No big deal. So everything just kept on building up from around there, and that's how this area is such a clusterfuck. Is the game free? No. No, Factorio is not free. Actually, it had a price increase recently. Also, no, I wasn't going to use that stone patch because it's tiny. 400 versus 85. Personal investment. Besides, I think I had already started to build my labs over there. I did at one point actually have that being tapped, but I opted just to leave that as the final thing. Yes, that is a really long belt, but that was when I was low-tech. And it's too short of an area for me to really say I should have a train going through there, but eh. Anyway, let's actually get into world instead of looking through the map. That will be annoying, but whatever. There. That should now just be charging up. Alright, so, currently I have a bit of bot supply. I actually have some slight issues with how I've set up my logistics network. It is covering almost every part of my base. Like, you can see the little bits of green where I don't have perfect logistics coverage. But that's area that I think I'm just gonna leave as is, or replace, or fix with a Roboport later, maybe? Maybe. I don't have too many plans for this actual base. I plan to rebuild somewhere down this way, or up this way, or just get a ton of landfill and fill in an ocean. I would be okay with doing that, simply because this is a monstrosity that I have no ongoing investment with. I'm to the point at which I don't think I can actually support this with resources, with the way that I built myself into a corner, without finagling too much and wrecking everything that I built. So I'm just gonna stick with what I have. I want to get to at least what am I on? Mining productivity 20? The infinite research now. I want to get at least mining productivity 20 or 30. Yeah. And I also wanted worker robot speed 10. Those were just sort of arbitrary goals that I set for myself, simply because I wanted to have decent bot speed for localized bot builds, because megabase wise, I think I'm probably going to have trains doing tons of work, moving mass production materials, specifically ores and plates, and possibly things like circuits, at least green circuits probably. I might go further and do blue and or red. Probably would only be red. Blue is not used for too much. I mean, what all actually uses blues? Wait. What's it called again? Processing unit. There's no way to tell what it's used in. At least that I remember. I don't know. I think it's only used in one science though, isn't it? Yeah, it's only used in high-tech science. That's it. So, I probably will just make them locally for that. But yeah, so, I plan on trying to do 2.4 thousand science per minute, which is 1 blue belt's worth. Probably won't be able to actually perfectly get it there, but this is just sort of a tester for my unnamed series, at this point anyway. This base is a clusterfuck, I will admit wholly. But I, for the most part, don't care too much, because the way that this base developed was overly organically, and I tried to cram in as much stuff as possible into whatever spaces I could make them fit in. So you have stuff like this that was just built off of the train area. I tried to avoid it hitting this stone brick belt. And that was basically the buffer of where I tried to stop myself building like this, or this area, this mess of a second oil setup for me to get more solid fuel close to my rocket fuel, and more plastic close to the low density structures. Yeah, had to think upon the name for a moment. But this is from deep core ore. This is something I haven't done in Unnamed yet. I will probably be doing it sometime soon. I planned on starting to do that next stream, actually. It would have been today if I hadn't been working. Oh, I really hope next Sunday I don't have to be working this late again. I like streaming, too. I don't like working. I'm that kind of person. But yeah, so this is what I've got for my beaconed smelters at the moment that are mostly given resources by this. Actually, ooh. I am running out of places to store my stone now. Previously it was iron. As you can see, I have 189,000 iron. Yeah, good. This isn't completely full. I was wondering, wait, how long until these fill up? I think it's 512,000. Yeah, 512,000. I have this set up so that I can actually know whether or not I have to blow one of these up or whatever. So, or just add another. I guess I'll probably have to do that for this too. Currently I'm setting up for just nuclear so that I can nuke some biters if I have to. Have I even researched the atomic bomb? Yeah, I have. Right, it's an unnamed that I haven't. I forget where I haven't. The two worlds sort of blend together, especially because, again, I'm treating this sort of as a test for what I want to do with Unnamed, which is why I want to do this as a messy megabase first, so that I know ahead of time how to plan for Unnamed's megabase. And so, basically, everything developed from over here. I kind of got distracted just by going around, but I started off with making green actually, I think I started off making red and green science, but then I think I put them in separate buildings originally, and then I opted to put them in a single bigger one, probably so I could expand them. I don't completely remember because it's been a good while since I actually did that, but I know that this was not only not original because this is way too late game of a research. When do you get Factory Mark 3? Architecture 3 is a blue science, and I took a long time to get blue science, but once I got blue science, everything sort of just fell in place. So This is the most recent development, hence why this is still here. I, for the longest time, was using, well, I still am, using the logistics network to ferry the space science I get from my rockets from here all the way over to here. And inside it is a mess, but it is the same design that I am now using in Unnamed. I opted to change the reds to blues and the blues to reds, just so that I could stick with the same stuff that I've been using, especially because, one, labs don't research that fast. Two, I think I might need to rethink this design a little bit if I want to actually use the full amount of research packs that I am actually going to be producing. So, we'll see exactly what I wind up doing, but needless to say, not everything actually has to be reds and blues. I could possibly get away with using yellows, but that might limit the throughput just enough to the point at which it would be useless. Actually, wait, yellows are a third of a blue, so having 4, that would, yeah, that would be more than enough. Never mind. I could get away with using yellows, but I'd rather not, because yellows are horrible. They're slow and they make me just, ugh. They don't move fast enough. Anyway, this is currently being fed by the logistics network, fed by the, it should really be the copper over here, but I don't have enough copper throughput because this thing's backed up now. I just solved the iron problem, and now I have to deal with the stone problem. How annoying. It's always like that in Factorio, though, so it's kind of a, it is what it is. Anyway, so I started with red and green, and then I opted to go right away and make a mall setup. Now, the stuff you see outside is all newer. So I opted to make gear machines right outside so that I could, because I personally like being able to craft belts when I need to, instead of having to run around and grab stuff, or craft inserters if I need to, because I tend to be an item hoarder. As you can see, I have requests set up for 1,000 gears. Normally it would be 2,000. I only need 1,000 now because I'm also requesting belts already. But just in case I'm far away, still 1,000 gears. That's a ton of gears. Actually, I should probably drop off the science. That might help. Alright. So, yeah, I am an item hoarder. So, $20 on Steam. Yeah. Anyway, I am an item hoarder, so you see tons of stuff in my inventory all the time. I do have the research inventory expansion mod intentionally. Again, item hoarder. I have a nearly full inventory in vanilla by default. Just imagine me picking up anything unusual that I normally wouldn't pick up. It would be a mess if I didn't have Power Armor Mark 4. The inventory size bonus is almost negligible at this point. I just wanted this so that I could have a ton of fusion reactors, but I don't have enough blue circuits for that. Of all things, that is my throughput issue. Red circuits, but just creating a blue circuit issue. But, you should make a non-modded Factorio multiplayer where fans can join. I don't think I could support that. Nope. Anyway, yeah, so for red circuits, I actually prefer to just have a green circuit built locally, simply because it's easiest to do that, and ratio-wise, it's pretty much perfect. What you get, though, if you're like me and you don't have perfect resources, especially right now, because it seems like I'm on a full resource shortage, like things are just being consumed way faster than I can produce. At times, this bus is nearly full, like the copper is nearly full. At times, iron is nearly full. It sort of goes in really wild cycles, and it's pretty unpredictable, but again, when I port over the base, it will be mostly solved. But as I went along, I made military science here in this factory building. Actually, I think I moved it into a factory building from having been out in the open and really a mess. I put solar panels here after that, and accumulators. They're hidden away just right there, but accumulators as well. And it was a mess out in the world. I think this was straight up just a copy paste blueprint. Yeah, I just copied what I had for stuff beforehand. Just look at this belt of turrets. So many turrets. Just completely filling a belt. This is the most resource-intensive item out of most things in required for a science pack, and I'm just double belting them. I mean, they use a lot of iron and copper. It's what is it? Yeah, gun turret. That's personal laser defense. Where are the turrets? Gun turret, here we go. 40 iron. It needs 40 iron. That is ridiculous. I'm pretty sure that's why I need to have 2 belts of iron, almost on its own. It is incredible. It takes, I think, a belt and a half. This does produce 2 per second, so this is approximately taking 40 iron per second. Of course, it's at 0.75 speed, but if it weren't at just that speed, it would be taking much more, which clearly would add up. Whatever I'm buying. But yeah, so more recently I have added this for red and blue belt production because I never actually, or specifically for undergrounds and just blue belts in general, I sort of shoehorned in the red belts right here after my original yellow belt design, which was 2 machines, of course, but then I wound up adding a number more. Just with the amount of gears that these take, it's ridiculous. But then you go on to the blue science design. Down here I have all the miners being made and all the gears and pipes for the engines. It's wild what amount of resources this requires, and what spaghetti I made for myself. Again, just look at all these belts weaving in between each other, and just space efficiency was once a thing. I actually somehow managed to make this space efficient. mostly. And then there's these white space gaps here that were once green, but have now been paved over. It's so fun, just paving over the grass. Except for the fact that these little decals, just to bother me, get left behind. But anyway, this stuff is all new. It wasn't there before. Infinite space is nice, but then I like to cram everything in as tight as possible just so that it's visually pleasing. But yeah, due to a building mistake, this is a really good place of how spaghetti things can get if you accidentally make building mistakes or some random stuff like that. But I forgot that these needed electric engines specifically. And so, because of that, I put normal engine units on this belt with these. So I needed to use the new priority splitters, because this was right around when those were actually implemented, to sort these off to another belt, because I was too lazy to completely redo the design. I didn't want to. And so I just decided I can do that. I can fix around that really easily. I mean, it works. The design isn't too huge, but it's certainly not the smallest build. Then you have the high-tech science, which amazingly is not that big. For high-tech science taking 4 ingredients, you can get away with using very few belts. Or very few things to set up where everything goes. You just need to bring in a belt with batteries and blue circuits separately, because generally you will need the blue circuits and batteries for other things, so that works well enough. I don't normally put batteries on the bus. I wouldn't recommend it. I did here because I thought I would need them more. The only reason I really did was so that I could get them down to high-tech science. Because of course at the time I didn't have the logistics network, so I decided I'm just going to belt these along beside steel. And then I remembered, oh, I need plastic. And put plastic along on top, and then the red circuits got put on top, so that's why they're buried there. You can make batteries pretty early on, honestly, which is part of why I have some going down here for accumulators. But then I just decided, just for posterity, I'm just gonna let them continue on. So, that's that. And then, this pitiful second module build, just so that it could produce more level 1 modules. It also has the Satan number, so lovely, 666. Then I have my not too compact, but aesthetically pleasing slightly beaconed module build. It's only enough to produce a slight surplus if you have enough resources to continually supply it. Continually. I did at one point for a very short while I wasn't doing any research, I think. It was pretty nice, because things were actually somewhat managing to keep up, and I was producing a ton of productivity and stuff, but that has since gone off the edge, because I was starting to produce these, and I made a giant setup that was two-sided with the Tier 3, with the electric furnaces, which wasn't that great. Actually, it's $30 on Steam. Yeah, I was thinking that. This recently bumped up the price. I thought so. 100% worth $30 though. Yes. I mean, how many hours have I played this game? I want to library. I want to look really quick on Steam. Oh, I thought I'd play more. It says I've only played 227 hours. That's still 227 hours, which is much more than just about any other game I own. The only one I've played more of is Minecraft. Some of that is AFK, other is just sitting back and thinking, what can I do with color palette this time? Minecraft building for the win. And also the time suck. Factorio was a time sink though too. But anyway, as things developed, I built this and my my second red circuit build because I didn't have enough red circuits to support all my blue circuits and everything going back as well. So I just have this belt going all the way back here and then splitting off and going into here because for, I think it's substations? What do I have in here that requires red circuits? Oh yeah, stack inserters. That's what I needed it for. Stack inserters. Yeah, because I added stack inserters to that. So yeah, you can see how it gets so spaghetti. I mean, just... I had this then routing back over into here, and I mean, it's a mess. A beautiful mess, but a mess. Then over here, with the iron shortage, it's not going at full pace, but just... And then another iron build for supplementation. I added it all the way over here so that it would go into and help with that and making more stuff down here with the blue science. Just I've added additional smelters simply so that it can supply everything somewhat locally, which is not normally recommended, but it works. Of course, I'm not perfectly running at 60 UPS when I zoom out like this, but it can run at 60 frames per second when I'm zoomed in, when I'm not drawing a ton of bots. Bear in mind, I don't have the best graphics card in the world. I don't know, it might be a little bit with some games, but it runs a lot of things quite stably, which I like. It doesn't use that much power, so I guess that's also a plus. Though over time my computer is still a power beast. I do call it Black Beast for a reason. That's a little bit of a joke just because of the fact that it's, again, a power-hungry beast. And it also was at one point very loud. But I now have a quiet fan, which is so much nicer. But anyway, over here I have robots being made. I have multiple robot frame machines because of how slow it is to craft these things and how fast it is to craft a logistic spot. But also, these things, the deep core mining drones, you need to use one of these every time you do this. So you get 100 deep core chunks, or deep core ore chunks. Gotta read it the right way around. And one deep core mining drone, which I'm crafting all the way over there. And that deep core mining drone is consumed. I don't know why it's done like that, but I guess it does kind of work to help limit what you actually get out from this. Now, the products that you get are balanced for the most part as to what your resource usage might actually be. Although I think uranium should be decreased because unless you have a massive nuclear power plant, and you're probably gonna have to be getting more iron and copper from outposts anyway in order for this to actually work, just due to how much stone and coal you have, unless you're putting them into some sort of a void chest or a massive storage system like this. it's going to be almost useless for you to get that much coal and stone. But yeah, you can see here, it's using the centrifuge. It's glowing green, of course, because this is meant to be for uranium processing, but it is pretty cool. And there's a stone backup, like I said earlier, but this base has grown and developed in really complex, strange ways over time, in ways that I am both happy with and mortified by. What with the way that I have this logistics setup done. This is supposed to be for red circuits all the way over here. It's never gonna have red circuits, which is probably gonna continue to mean I have a module shortage. Of all things, I have blue circuits but not reds reaching the end of the bus. I guess blue circuits do take priority once red circuits are consumed by purples, but actually no, purples aren't even... Oh, yes they are. They actually are now consuming red circuits. Never mind. Red circuits have finally caught up. How great. Oh, and iron's catching up too. Oh, lovely. There's a little bit of backup. Just for a little bit. The resources have oscillated. Oh, and you can see copper is now on shortage. Fun. Again, my resource usage sort of oscillates back and forth. It's to some strange extremes. I don't know why it does that so back and forth, but I guess, again, it has to do with resource extremes, what's being used and what's not at the moment. But as science goes, it's definitely at the biggest peaks back and forth of that. Especially when you're doing something like Worker Robot Speed 8, which uses 4,000 of each pack. Oh, goodness. Infinite since 6. Since Robot Speed 6, that's quite a lot. Just the amount of packs you need for every single infinite research is ridiculous, but that's why I want to do 2.4K per minute. Clearly this base is never going to support that, especially with the fact that it's almost all reds. I struggled just to try to make these blues. I think I had a very small temporary setup for that. And then I made the more permanent one right over here, just for the blues. And the underground, since I needed to put in the substations. Because it's not quite enough to be able to fully power the thing to have them on the far end. So, yeah, but you can sort of see how everything just grew up and up. Now, all the way... my train system is a mess, but down here I have the additional oil. Because my original patch is up here, its yield is way down from where it was. This was also a huge patch down here from the get-go, but my oil build is encroaching on this. It's short a few refineries from being the perfect ratio. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Yeah, so it's 5 short from being the perfect ratio. I don't think I actually tried to make it the perfect ratio per se, but I did as best as I could. And currently my plastic is going through at perfectly full speed, which is nice. I like when it does that. And as I was saying, you have this is supposed to be for the core processing oil, because this needs sulfuric acid and I didn't feel like piping it all the way down here. Not just because fluid dynamics, but because that's a mess up here already, and I made that late. So this stuff was all already there. That'd be just a joy to try and put that in. But anyway, over here we have the core miners, right here. Now, only one is actually being used, but I have a setup over here for mining the iron and coal. Needed to do actually needed to do all of this. Now these are actually coal trains. I've switched over to electric trains. Oh, these are actually e-locomotives. Oh, so right, this coal was from when I didn't use the e-locomotives. But you can safely ignore that. Down over here you actually have the core mining resources pickup train. And you can see the biters just peacefully there. I love playing in peaceful, so that gets away with that. But yeah, deep core miner, it normally can produce quite a lot, but right now it's not producing anything. I'm not really entirely sure why, but anyway, so that's the base, basically. At this point, right now, I don't have a ton that I plan on doing with what's here. I maybe want to fix a few bottlenecks, like specifically the stone per se, and get the deep core going again, because right now what's just here is all just basic storage, and limited storage at that. So I want to fix that up, and then I'm gonna start working on a mega base, a test mega base of all things. But it's still going to be a mega base. And what I intend to do in the near future hold on. That's a sorting process. Wait. Never mind. I guess I can't see the specifics of that. Alright, whatever. Why is it not working, though? Is it... Oh, it's trying to... Oh! There must have been an update, I guess. Maybe? Oh my goodness. What even? So I guess there was an update to this. An update that ruined the build. Why is... This needs to be a pump, doesn't it? Yes, it does. I remember correctly that it was explicitly supposed to be a pump. Now it's working. Alright, that solves that. Anyway, problem solved. But yeah. Spiders. They are ugly. I don't like them, but I make do with them. Anyway, now that we have this being loaded up again, just anyway, yeah, so that's this shown off again. And there's a oil supply being picked up from way down here. It's a mess trying to route over all of this. Just and I'm supplying all of that with just 2 drills. 2 drills is more than enough with how little it actually winds up using over time. Admittedly, it does use quite a bit, but oil cracking means that I can support 1 off of 2. I can tap 2 more when I actually need to start using the 3rd, or the 2nd, but really, I'm a ways away from having to do that. And I don't think I actually have the processing required to fully utilize all of that. So, for the moment, I think that's good. And, yeah. That basically is the base. That is basically the base. Basically. Alcohol. Anyway, that'll do it. So, thank you so much for watching if you actually did watch. Leave a like if you enjoyed. At some point, I'm probably going to wind up showing off what becomes of any sort of mega base that I wind up making based off of this. Honestly, I do plan on getting some sort of mega base set up, even if I don't actually have full throughput, because that does take a lot of resources and it takes a lot of time, and this is, again, supposed to almost be a test world for Unnamed at this point. This was just sort of how I got back into Factorio after taking off for most of 0.15. Most of the time that 0.15 was the current update. Once we got 0.16 experimental, I started this world. Well, it was actually a little bit later into 0.16. No, it actually wasn't. No, it wasn't. I did want to make a world right away in 0.16, so this was it. This was it, yeah. I forget about that. I actually had made a world again in 0.15 while 0.16 was out in beta, and I was like, I kind of want to do some fun stuff. I didn't get that far. I wanted to do 0.16 stuff. So, and I saw that 0.16 that was starting to have its mods updates, so I thought, you know what? Why don't I go ahead and take some mods through the mod portal, turn them into some sort of a pack for me to have fun with and play around with. And most of the rest is just history and already visible before your very eyes. This clusterfuck. Seriously, this base is a mess in so many ways. But it was a learning experience. I learned some cool things. It works, which is the most important thing. It doesn't work perfectly, but again, that's okay. Just so long as I can continue to practice stuff, learn some new things, and so long as I am able to start to collect modules and stuff so that I can get an idea of what it's like to turn a base into a mega base, I'm good. I should be good. I kind of want to let worker robot speed finish going, but it's gonna take a little while. Yeah. Anyway, that should do it. Thank you so much for watching. One last time, this is Guy Smith signing off. Until next time, take care. I'll see you guys. Bye. See you Thursday. Or whenever. Bye.